I want to go over two main points that are very key for, once again, establishing and sustaining a meditation practice. The first one is, how long should one meditate for? The key to this, I think, is this feeling of ensuring success. You want to start with short sessions. Obviously, you don't want to do something 20 or 30 seconds, but you want to start for at least a few minutes. And then what we want to do is gradually build up. What we don't want to do is get into the point, which happens to a lot of people traditionally or when they go on retreats, which is trying to sit for an hour and just trying to do it because they're supposed to. What we want to do is actually enjoy and be able to be aware during the whole meditation practice. Personally, what I recommend is if you've never done much meditating, when you start to practice, your sitting meditation should be somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes long. You start short, and when the session ends, you're in a good place still. Ensure success and stay with that maybe 6 or 7 minutes for a couple weeks, and then maybe just add on a minute at a time. And slowly take your time, build up. But to be honest, up until about 6 months or a year, I wouldn't recommend going over a 15-minute sitting practice session. However, lying down, it's much easier to go longer. So, for example, for myself, I was doing lots of short sitting meditations when I first was beginning to establish a daily practice, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. But I was able to do very long, 30, 40, 45-minute body scans lying on my back. It's much more comfortable. Where your awareness gets the shift. So you'll find it's going to be easier to do longer practices while lying down. So keep the sitting practices short for a while, ensure success, but feel free to go for longer practices while lying on your back. Another key point is, should you always do guided practices or should you begin doing things on your own? I think it's much easier to start being guided. It tends to be very difficult for people just sitting down and starting a meditation on their own. It's a very, very easy way for the mind to get distracted, not sure what you're supposed to do. Having that calming voice, that guidance from an experienced meditation teacher is really helpful for a long period of time. Personally, for me, I'd say I took significantly more than a year before I felt confident enough to start doing practices on my own. Some people that might be shorter, but be very, very familiar with a type of practice before you decide to go on your own. There's nothing wrong with staying with guided practices for a while. That being said, after a long period of time, after you really established, you created this new habit of meditating daily, you're going to want to start moving into doing more practices on your own. That is for formal practices, your morning practice, your evening practice. For these short micro sessions that we recommend, 30 seconds, 3 minutes throughout your day, whether you're at work, on a bus, in your car, at a traffic light, those obviously make sense to do on your own. But remember, you're just doing really short practices. Maybe you're just breathing in and out, feeling, in and out with the breath, or maybe just a quick little body scan, or just being aware of some sounds. Those you could do on your own because they're really short. Thanks for joining me.